Hello Canada, my fellow Canadians, politicians, Aboriginals, you're my fellow Canadians too. I am Michele Tittler from the political organization End Race-Based Law, and I'm going to try to make this video a little shorter than some of the other ones I've made. I'm learning as I go along. I've only been at this for a whole year, although I've spent every single day at it since Idle No More started in the winter of 2012. It's a subject I was interested in before and had read a bit about. Race law, the Aboriginal issue, the Indian Act, that kind of thing. And my ex-husband, Jerry Gagnon, who is still my really good friend, is a political animal and a tremendous research guru. So he's part of this End Race-Based Law Facebook page and our website. This is a not-for-profit political organization, and what we're about is we want to take Section 35 out of the Constitution and whatever other areas of the Constitution that allow special privileges or race laws for the Aboriginals and Quebec. Really important that we move on from that era in history. If we're moving on from the residential schools, we're moving on from the past. None of us have anything to do with that, neither do the living Aboriginals today. And if we're all going to heal and move on, I went to the Truth and Reconciliation Tour. I'm wearing the t-shirt. This is it. Truth and Reconciliation. Reconciliation means two parties. That means both parties have to reconcile. And that means the Aboriginals have to come along with us and really think hard about the 34 million people who live here, work hard, pay taxes, and help them. That they blame so easily and call racist anytime they want to talk about this issue. And you know, you've come onto my page, so many of you Aboriginals. I have to talk to two groups here because the Aboriginals separate themselves. It's us and them, and that's kind of what this video is going to be about, is the all-inclusive Canada. You know, where all the different cultures get to do what they need to do to make themselves feel proud and happy and experiencing the things that mean something to them, that are sacred to them, and yet not interfering with other people, bothering other people, really hurting other people. I mean, if the Truth and Reconciliation Tour about residential schools was about Canada and the churches coming clean about their misgivings, wrongdoings, mistakes, then it's also the Aboriginals' turn to step up to the plate and get real with that too. Your misgivings, mistakes, and your abuses against Canada and innocent taxpayers, we know, and we need to be able to talk about those things. We're allowed to talk about those things without being called a racist. I can tell you right now that our page, we get accused of being a hate page all the time. There's so many, I'll tell you what is wrong with the Aboriginal dialogue. It's so hysterical and dramatic. It's so melodramatic. Everything is victimhood. It's unbelievable. It's way over the top. So someone says something minor and next thing you know it's blown up to being genocidal murderer. You just have to stop doing that. You have to stop saying to Canadians that they're on stolen land. That's abuse. That's abusive racism. It's bullying. You have to stop doing that. You have to stop using these races to bully our Prime Minister. You're not on par with him. We voted for him. It's a democratically elected government. I've said that in 3 of my different videos. Canada has to stop acquiescing to this. Just because we feel guilty about the residential schools doesn't mean that we should all be bending over for bullying. We voted for our government, a majority government, and the Aboriginals aren't yet. And they can't use their race to just, you know, especially when there are so many different nations, 600 plus nations, to say that our Prime Minister has to consult with them. It doesn't say that in the treaties. Just so you know, Canada, it does not say anything about that in the treaties. This is them using race laws to continuously push for more and more and more and more. And now we have to ask the Aboriginals, we have a right to say to the Aboriginals, come along with us, we're all one. Why should we have two-tiered policing in Ontario, in Caledonia? Why should we have hunting and fishing that's race-based? One race alone, when we know there's cheating going on, when we know it's not just for their way of life. There's a way for them to sustain some of those traditions and also consider other people. There are 34 million other people. It's as if we've all allowed them to go on as if we don't exist, except for to give them money. And except for them to tell us we can't do stuff on their land. No, this traditional territory stuff, We have the treaties on End Race-Based Law. They're pretty clear. The land was ceded. Lots of land was given too. I mean, how much do people need, really? We need to abolish the Indian Act so people can be homeowners. That's more important than this bullying us and saying that everything is their traditional lands and stopping mining. Do you know that people have been mining for gold since as far back as mankind goes? From as far back as we can find civilization, mankind, there has been like rings and things built from stone and from precious metals, silver, it just goes so far back. I know the Aboriginals are saying that gold mining isn't allowed here, and I mean, it's the oil sands. They're freaking out because it's ugly, but really, even they're stepping in the middle of precious, like diamonds and gold and silver and things that just are regular mining that mankind has always done, acting as though their race has the right to do that. That's just racism and bullying. Now, we need to be able to ask the Aboriginals, since we've given so much to them and we've tried so hard to reconcile with all this stuff, and people do care. We really do care about the Aboriginals, want to see them do well, want to make that very clear that on any race-based law, we don't hate the Aboriginals. We really care. We care about everybody in Canada. That's what this is about. We don't think there should be any race laws, and we think the Aboriginals should come with us. You guys need to come with us and stop talking about the residential schools and blame as if it's okay to use your race. And this "we're here first" thing, we need to, this is 2013, we're all here together, we're all staying. So let's work this out. Our children cannot be inheriting this. And you know what? It doesn't make for good relations. It really doesn't. It creates such resentments. And then it makes the Aboriginals feel as though they're hated, because people really do hate these race laws and this unfairness. It's not right. And then the Aboriginals get defensive, and then they start calling people genocidal murderers because they have to justify all the money and, you know, the land claims and all that kind of stuff. Why don't you guys just stop? We're all in this together. You know, we're all in this together. It's not all your land. It's too late now. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop bullying people in Caledonia. Six Nations. A couple of my stalker girls are from Six Nations. Just really got a lot of problems out there with this abuse issue. You need to get counsellors into your communities. Canada, we need to get counsellors into their communities, and they have other things to worry about than industry right now. The experts in industry care about the environment too. We all care about the environment. We don't need for the Aboriginals to be bullying industry. It's the very money that they get money from. So that's what we're asking now. Let's end race-based law. Let's abolish the Indian Act. Let's put money into education and job training and counseling. And so you don't want to integrate. We hear you say that all the time, or assimilate, and yet you're on computers saying you don't want to assimilate. It's just crazy. You all speak English now, and it seems like the only time you've ever come together to do anything was when you learned how to speak English in the residential schools, because otherwise you spoke different languages. You fought each other for the land. You raped and pillaged. You did all that stuff to each other. And the only time you've ever come together in Canadian history, or in your history here, is to attack Canada in English. So, you know, let's just stop doing that now. Let's all stop doing that. Let's do the real truth and reconciliation. Let's listen to Canadian voices. We have a voice too. It's not just the Aboriginals. And we are saying that we don't want race laws anymore. That we still think that Aboriginals can have their world, have their traditions and their culture without using our Supreme Court, which should not be more superior than our Prime Minister, and that's what's happening. Laws are changing using these race laws. It's just not fair, and the Aboriginals have to come along with us and care about us now, and recognize that we also need for them to step up to the plate and stop using these race laws to bully us. It's too late now. We're all here, we're all staying, and we need for them to recognize that, to reconcile with that, to treat Canadians with respect and dignity, the way that they are. You can't just come and bash us and treat us like dirt like you have been. I Don't Know More was just, you can't believe the stuff that we went through with I Don't Know More gangs. It was the most awful abuse I've ever seen in my whole life. I mean, granted, I know you guys have problems and you need to clean them up, but that's why you shouldn't be bothering our industry right now. You really should just be taking care of those issues and getting people to work, getting people into counseling, and dealing with your own issues. That's what Canada is asking from you now. I've heard from so many people across the nation. I saw them all on Sun News for the last 10 months. I did this every single day. I read every single person's comments on CBC, CTV, Sun News. You know I was there. Canadians are talking. They've had enough now of these race laws and of this racism. It doesn't mean we don't care. It doesn't mean we hate you. It doesn't mean anyone's racist. It means that we're all in this together. We're all sorts of different races. We're all mixed. There are so many of us now, it's just we can't have race laws anymore. We need for the Aboriginals to do their share in this. We don't need race laws, and you got to stop taking us to court. It's us, we're people. That's your abuses against us. So that's what end race-based law is all about, and it's a fair quest, and that's what we're doing. End race-based law. Come along with us.